Picture a man who has everything: talent, money, fame. Now picture that same man in a filthy state prison cell, washing pans in the kitchen for 8 cents an hour, knowing Hollywood has already decided he's finished. Robert Downey Jr. Today we know him as a genius, a billionaire, a playboy, a philanthropist. But beneath the surface of that polished armor is a history that began when he was only 6 years old. Welcome to the Deep Dig. Tonight we're not talking about superheroes. We're talking about the line between life and death, about addiction that hollowed a man out, and the comeback that shocked an entire industry. This is the story of how inmate P50522 became the face of a cinematic empire, and later, an Academy Award winner. This is the biggest comeback in modern film history. Robert Downey Jr. was born into chaos. His father, Robert Downey Sr., was an underground filmmaker, a bohemian, and a rebel. Robert wasn't raised on fairy tales. He was raised in marijuana smoke, at film parties, among adults who never grew up. His first joint was offered to him by his own father when he was 6 years old. Years later, his father would call it the stupidest mistake of my life. That moment bonded them, and at the same time condemned Robert to decades of addiction. In the 1980s, Downey was considered one of the greatest talents of his generation. The year is 1992. He is nominated for an Academy Award for playing Charlie Chaplin. It looked like the world was at his feet. Then came the 1990s. Heroin, cocaine, alcohol. Robert becomes a walking corpse. He is arrested driving naked, throwing imaginary rats at police officers. He wakes up in a child's bedroom in a stranger's house after climbing in through a window and falls asleep in the bed of a child he's never met. Judges gave him chances. He threw them away, again and again, until he ended up in Corcoran State Prison, California, inmate number P50522, washing pans for 8 cents an hour, fighting to survive among murderers, knowing his career was dead. When he was released, no one would insure him. He was officially labeled uninsurable. Then something rare happened. His friend Mel Gibson put up his own money and reputation just so Robert could act in The Singing Detective. The year is 2008. Director Jon Favreau fights Marvel Studios. The studio says, "Under no circumstances." Favreau replies, "He is Tony Stark. He has the demons, the genius, the arrogance." They were right. Iron Man saved Marvel. Marvel saved Robert, from a junkie eating out of trash cans to the highest paid actor on the planet, and eventually an Academy Award winner for Oppenheimer. Burger King saved his life. In 2003, Robert was driving with a car full of drugs. He stopped at Burger King and bought a burger, but it tasted so disgusting to him that he had a moment of clarity. His addiction had destroyed him so completely he couldn't even taste food properly anymore. He pulled over by the ocean, threw all his drugs into the water, and decided to get clean. And later, in Iron Man 1, when Tony Stark returns and asks for an American cheeseburger, that isn't random. It's Robert leaving a personal fingerprint inside the character. Ballet training. As a child, he studied classical ballet in London. That training explains the physical precision in his performances, the control, the timing, the strange grace behind his comedy and movement in films like Chaplin and Sherlock Holmes. Prison fight. During his time in Corcoran, he got into a fight with 3 inmates. He suffered a gash on his nose that required stitches, and afterward, he was moved into solitary confinement for his own protection. Mel Gibson as a guardian angel. When Robert was blacklisted, Mel Gibson paid his insurance so he could work again. And later, when Mel Gibson became the one Hollywood wanted to erase, Robert Downey Jr. was one of the few people who publicly defended him, asking the industry to offer the same forgiveness they once gave to him. Wing Chun. Robert credits part of his sobriety to Wing Chun, a Chinese martial art he has trained intensely since 2003 under Sifu Eric Oram. It gave him discipline, structure, and something addiction steals: inner stillness. He hides food around the set. Downey has a habit of hiding snacks around film sets. In The Avengers, the moment where Tony Stark offers Bruce Banner blueberries was not scripted. Robert simply pulled them out of his stash and improvised it on the spot. Sarah Jessica Parker. In the 1980s, he lived with Sarah Jessica Parker for 7 years. She tried to help him through addiction for a long time, but eventually she left because she couldn't save him from himself. Robert later admitted he broke her heart. Oscar. After 30-plus years, more than 30 years passed between his first Oscar nomination, Chaplin, 1992, and his eventual win, Oppenheimer, 2024. One of the longest comeback arcs the Academy has ever seen. He released an album. He's also a musician. In 2004, he released a jazz pop album called The Futurist. It received decent reviews, but Robert later said he wouldn't do another one because he didn't have the energy to live like a rock star. Tom Holland is his protege. The relationship between Tony Stark and Peter Parker wasn't purely acting. Downey took Tom Holland under his wing in real life, and during negotiations, he reportedly pushed for Spider-Man to have more space in the films. "I am Iron Man" was improvised. The famous final line of Iron Man, "I am Iron Man," it wasn't in the script. Robert said it spontaneously.
I am Iron Man.
Kevin Feige loved it and kept it, even though it changed the entire concept of secret identities in the MCU. He wears height-boosting shoes. Robert is around 174 centimeters, shorter than many of his co-stars. So in films, especially beside actors like Chris Hemsworth or Chris Evans, he often wears platform shoes or hidden lifts to appear taller on screen. Footprint Coalition. In 2018, he partnered with scientists and launched the Footprint Coalition, an organization focused on using advanced technology and robotics to help clean the planet. A real-world attempt to become the kind of problem solver Tony Stark pretended to be. Avengers tattoos. 5 out of the 6 original Avengers, except Mark Ruffalo, have matching tattoos. Robert was the one who came up with the idea and organized it. Tropic Thunder, risky role. For his performance as Kirk Lazarus in Tropic Thunder, an Australian actor playing a black character, he was nominated for an Oscar. It was a dangerous, controversial concept, but the film framed it as a satire of Hollywood, and Downey's performance became a cult phenomenon. His father cast him as a dog. In one of his father's experimental films, Pound, 1970, a 5-year-old Robert played a puppy, and his first words on screen were, "Does anyone have any hair?" Robert Downey Jr. once said, "When you hit bottom, bottom can still fall out. You can go even lower." But his life proves something else too. You can push off from the bottom and rewrite everything. His story isn't a fairy tale. It's a brutal drama with a hard-earned ending. It shows that it doesn't matter how deep you fall or how many times you fail. If you have the will, and maybe one person who believes in you, like Mel Gibson, like Jon Favreau, you can rebuild your life from the rubble. Thank you for joining The Deep Dig. Tell us in the comments, do you prefer him as Sherlock Holmes or Tony Stark? And as always, we'll see you next time.